Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome our first presenter, Adam.
Good afternoon, everyone. My job involves teamwork within projects. Projects involve the installation of copper and fiber optic cables into buildings. Last week I was given a leadership role for a building installation, and for the first time in my 26 years, I was in charge of a project of this magnitude. This was a new building that was being built from the ground up, and I was responsible to ensure that they would have communication in both voice and data. During my time in the leadership role throughout the last week, I collected 5 lessons for when it comes to being in charge of a project. No matter how big or small the project is, they are all effective in your success, and I will share those 5 lessons with you today. So before we begin, this is a project that we had throughout the last week. Here we see 2 different cables that are being run in manholes up to a pulpit and up to a comms room inside the building on the 2nd floor. We have a copper that is in the first manhole going into the pulpit, and further back we have a fiber optic. The reason that it's stretching further back is for the splice. It's the closest that the cable can get to a splice. Last Monday, this is the package that I received. I heard from my coworkers that the cables were already run inside the 2 manholes. However, that wasn't the case when we finally opened up the manholes and we saw that there was nothing in there. So lesson 1, know your project. We had to make a quick decision to go to the cable yard, get some more cable, and quickly run them in from the respective manholes into the building. Throughout the first day, we were successful with that, so I was pretty happy with that. Moving on to Wednesday. Here in this diagram, we have the copper cable coming from the ceiling into the box where it's supposed to go. Here we have the cable going through a cable tray, which is like a ladder type system that goes at the top of the room for the cables to flow on. It goes right through, which is incorrect. This is what I received from the diagram that we got in the project, and this contradicts with our standards. Lesson 2, stick with the standards. The reason why we can't run the cable through that is, what if we had to get rid of this tray right here? We have to disconnect this. We have to screw with the system that's already in place. So what do? We move the tray away from the wall, and we have the cable running behind the tray, then have it loop down and go in the bottom rather than the top in the last one. Okay, here we are until Wednesday. This is an overhead view of the comms closet. Over here we have a cable rack that is drilled into the floor. Into the concrete floor. These 4 spots here represent the spots where we are drilling. And these lines here represent electrical wires inside the concrete. It shouldn't be inside concrete on any floor except the first floor. Which brings me to lesson 3, be cautious of other people's mistakes. This was the responsibility of the electricians. I coordinated with the electrical foreman. He recommended risking the drilling, hopefully missing the electrical wiring. I kid you not, that was what he told me. That's not how I work, so we had to resort to a plan B. We ended up hiring someone to take x-ray pictures of the floor so that they can tell us where the wiring is and whether or not we can drill in these 4 spots and be safe. Luckily enough, we were safe. Okay, this slide may be a little bit too complex, so I'll try to explain it as effectively as I can. Here we are into Thursday. Here we see my co-workers working on the project, and at the same time, we have myself attending a Speaking with Confidence class at the same time. The problem with this is that their leader is away from the project. They may feel lost. They may not know what to do during that day. Lesson 4, remain part of the project. This is what happened on Thursday. In the morning, I called my 2IC and went over the details of what I wanted him to do on that day. And I called him again for a follow-up during the lunch hour. That way I know everything is going to plan and I can feel good about the day and not being a part of the project right there. And finally, we are into Friday. Here we have an electrician looking up at the work that he has to do up here. He has electrical wires running from the ceiling. There's a problem though. There's a piece of cable tray that is in his way. I'm supposed to put that up on that day. If I put that tray in his way, he can't get to his work, which brings me to my 5th and final lesson. Remember other projects within yours. I had to coordinate once again with the electrical foreman, and I couldn't put that tray in. So we did as much work as possible up to that point, and we left it open so that he can get in and complete his work. We are still currently at a standstill for him to finish up so that we can go and complete our job. So once again, the 5 lessons we covered. Know your project, stick with the standards, be cautious of other people's mistakes, remain part of the project, and remember other projects within yours. Follow these 5 lessons, you'll safely complete the job, you'll have coordination throughout the project, and you'll look good to both your coworkers and superiors. Thank you.